to win MVP this season, and for good reason. The two quarterbacks rank at the top in nearly every category among QBs, including being 1 and 2 in passing touchdowns so far this season. This game is going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for it. Stephen A., I'll ask you this. Who do you think's going to have the bigger game? Is it Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson's going to put on the show. That's just my personal opinion. I will say this. Let me say this. They both have something in common. I know one was drafted 7th overall. The other was drafted, dead last in the first round. I get all of that. But both of them are quarterbacks who should have been taken earlier in that draft. Baker Mayfield was the number 1 overall pick. Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick. So you had a slew of teams, the Giants included, albeit because they picked Saquon Barkley, who passed up on Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming. And some people were saying that he was a stud, and they spoke to the potential that he had. And there was a few people who dropped the ball in that regard. And obviously Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. Having said all of that, his accuracy seems to be a bit better. His running ability is just sublime. We see what he's done. If it wasn't for him getting hurt the last 4 years of last season, he would have had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and he's clearly en route to a 4th. That would have been the case had he had 1,000-plus yards rushing last season, but 3 in the last 4 years, he's en route to that now because he's got about 243 yards rushing. He's got a 79-yard touchdown run. The brother's electrifying with his feet, and we understand that. And so he just brings a different dimension and a different level of fear. And when you couple that with some of the injuries that the Buffalo Bills are said to have had on the defensive side of the ball, I think that Lamar Jackson is going to be in a position to take advantage of that. Let's not forget Devin Duvernay, not Ava Duvernay, Devin Duvernay has been flat out balling. Give him love. Bateman, give him love too. Andrews is Andrews. Dobbins hopefully will be back. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a big game.
I'm going to say Josh Allen, and it's because I really believe that this feels like a must-win for the Buffalo Bills. I don't think that home field advantage is going to have more of a beneficial impact on anybody in the AFC outside of Buffalo. That crowd and that fan base is so rabid right now to host the AFC Championship game and to have their team go to the Super Bowl. That quarterback and his ability to throw in awful weather is such an advantage, and they know it, and everybody else in the league knows it. You cannot lose this game. You can't lose to a division opponent on the road in Miami and then go on the road versus another AFC team who's going to be in the playoffs and lose and fall behind essentially 0-2 when it comes to that mark. I believe that this feels like a must-win for the Buffalo Bills. That, and also, Stephen A., the fact that, there's a little bit of a dent in the armor, I guess, coming off of that Miami game. This is the darling, the Super Bowl favorite. They're dominating everybody. And now there's a little bit of, can they win the close game conversation? 0-7 in their last single-score games when it comes to a loss, I believe. The injuries. Can this team overcome some of the injuries that so many champions in many ways have to? This Baltimore Ravens secondary this year is giving up 350 yards a game. 350 yards a game. That's coming off of last year when they gave up 280. I'm shocked how poorly they're playing. That means basically an average quarterback throws for like 290 against this defense right now. Josh Allen should sniff 400. That's my expectation of what Josh should do versus this secondary that for some reason is struggling to play and communicate. The Bills cannot fall to 2-2. They cannot fall to 0-2 and with a loss to Baltimore and Miami. Josh Allen is in many ways, in a good way, a maniac. This dude is as competitive as we know Tom Brady to be, as we know a guy like Lamar Jackson to be. Josh got to have his best game of the season. I expect that he will, and Buffalo needs to win this game.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if Buffalo ended up winning this game despite Lamar Jackson having a bigger game statistically than Josh Allen. I think because I expect him to run the football effectively and whatever. They could turn the ball over. There are a myriad array of ways that you could end up losing this game, even with Lamar Jackson playing lights out. And I get everything you're saying. I'm co-signing on everything that you're saying about Buffalo and what they bring to the table, with the exception of one thing. I don't believe this is as much of a must-win game as you proclaim. I think that Buffalo is lethal enough that once they get their ducks in order, they can go on a prolific run. It's not the end of the world if they lose this game this Sunday. It'll be 4 games into the season. They'll be 2-2 with 13 games to go. Again, I'm not acting like it's not important. I'm not acting like this is not a game you should win, but it's not the end of the world. If either of these teams lose this game, Buffalo because of who they are, and Baltimore because they're in the AFC North. I don't believe it's like that.
Two reasons why, though, Stephen A. Number one, this would be the second straight game that you're dealing with injuries as a football team. That maybe a couple defensive line are out as your secondary has lost some players. And again, that's when you start to have the doubts creep in of, well, Micah's such a big deal that, maybe we can't play. Our starting corner's out. How is our defense going to still be number one in the league again? And you start to feel like panic mode. Okay, can we actually get this done? And in the AFC, if this was a different, if they played inside of a dome, Stephen A., I wouldn't have these feelings of home field advantage. But having been there on Monday Night Football and watching this fan base and seeing how it impacted the game, I'm sitting there saying, my goodness.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
How can in the middle of me trying to be serious,
I'm listening.
You act like a child, man.
I just
you should wear those more often. Sometimes it makes me feel better about the things you say.
I just wanted to see how it feels. That's all. I just wanted to see how it feels. Okay.
You know who you look like? You know who you look like?
What are you gonna tell me?
You look like Urkel.
Yeah, they always tell me that.
I don't even know what I'm talking. So home field advantage and the reality of the weather. I don't know. I honestly don't believe that many teams are capable of going up there and feeling confident having to deal with the elements in relation to Buffalo.
Yeah, but you're acting like if you lose it, you're 2-2, man. Listen, man, you got 13 games left to go in the season. Let's look at this. Let's look at this reasonably, okay? You can go on a run, and then you look at the rest of the AFC conference. Everybody's got a loss. You got a loss in the AFC West. You got a loss in the AFC South
but
and
you're
North.
Behind Baltimore and Miami, then.
I understand that, but what kind of role are they going to go on? Oh, from a longevity perspective, I don't know about that. You're going to get Miami back. Because that had a lot to do with that South Florida sunshine, catching cramps and all of that stuff if you digs in the crew. I get all of that. They're going to get them when they come to Buffalo. Let me tell you something right now. Buffalo got a better chance of going to Miami and winning in the postseason than Miami has of going to Buffalo and winning the Buffalo in the postseason.
It's literally
I can tell you
my point.
That much.
That's my point.
I'm just saying, but the point is, Buffalo can win anywhere. Everybody can't win in Buffalo. And I think you got 13 games, you can pull it out. I think you got it. I'm not worried about it. There's not as much win for Buffalo as you're saying. It's not. No, I didn't intimate that it was if they lose, their season's over. But it feels like they have to win this game. They have to win this game.
Because
no,
it feels. Don't. Yes, they do. Like it feels. Stephen A., I'm telling you, man, you lose 2 in a row on the road to good AFC contenders. Now you're behind them when it comes to potential home field advantages. They got the tiebreaker. It's your second straight game of having to play with some of those guys that are injured. You're starting to say, man, we got some chinks in the armor. We're going to have to fix this. We saw the emotion of last week. I love Buffalo. They are my pick in many ways. I think they are still the best team in football. But this feels like one of those games that they got to kind of go rectify what happened this past weekend.
All right, just from a politically correct standpoint, is it chinks or is it kinks in armor? Which word is appropriate, Molly? Which one is it? Is kinks?
Kinks.
Yeah. But
kinks in the
armor? I don't know. I
know what you're trying to say.
We do try to. We just want to make sure because
kinks.
What's the right?
We avoid that one. We'll avoid that one. Yeah, we'll avoid that one for now.
Okay.
But we'll leave it there because we got plenty more. Dan, do you still want to stick around? You want to stick around with this guy? Because if you need to go,
I'm 2-0 right now. I'm 2-0 on the day right now.
Okay.
Oh, please.
Okay, he's feeling good. Still to come on First Take, yesterday Stephen A. revealed his list, and he has the Philadelphia Eagles as the top team in the NFL. But do the guys agree? Damian Woody joining the show next. And tonight, the undefeated Dolphins head to Cincy to face Joe Burrow in the